Hello, everyone. Welcome to IARF 5-Minute Focus, discussions with leaders in disability services, where you guessed it, we talk with leaders in community-based service provider agencies providing services and supports for adults and children with developmental disabilities. My name is Josh Evans, and I am President and CEO of IARF. And today we are joined by Susan Kaufman, President and CEO of Orchard Village, based out of Skokie, Illinois. Susan, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Josh. Pleasure to be with you.
So, Susan, for the first approach and the first discussion point, one of the things I'm hoping you can do is talk about, what is it that Orchard Village does?
Well, thanks for the opportunity to tell you. Orchard Village, we're an agency that next year we're going to be 50 years old. So we're celebrating our golden anniversary. As you mentioned, we are headquartered in Skokie. We were founded here in Skokie by a group of parents back in the day when services weren't as readily available as they are now. We provide services and supports to children and adults with developmental disabilities across the spectrum of disabilities. And we do that through a wide variety of programming and services. We have a therapeutic day school called Orchard Academy, and that is a specialized program. It's a very vocationally based school for students aged 17 to 21. We provide home-based services and supports to children and adults, so they receive services in their either family home or their individual home. And those services enable them to remain home and to work on the goals that they want and need to live independent lives. We provide a community day service program called Innovations. Again, another vocationally based small day program, which you're going to kind of hear a theme about employment and vocational here at Orchard Village, a very strong theme and program that's very important to us. And that program are for people who are interested in community-based services, perhaps in employment, and certainly in working and volunteering in the community. Through that day program, we kind of have an offshoot that's not quite as vocationally minded. That is a more recreation and leisure-based day program, but also provides a meaningful and a productive day for those that attend. Orchard Village provides clinical supports, counseling, behavior services, and one thing that's kind of unique to us is we have a therapeutic recreation program. So those programs provide recreation, but in a very goal-focused and a meaningful way to our participants of our day services and also our residential supports. In residential, again, we serve the wide variety of folks some who need 24-hour services and supports through what is called the CILA program, the Community Integrated Living Arrangement Program. So those are group homes for us, mostly in the north suburban area that are no more than 8 people. And people, as I said, reside there that need that kind of continuous supervision and service. And then we also have an intermittent program where we either in groups or individually provide just occasional and intermittent supports that enable also people to live very independent lives and work on the things that they want to. So that's basically us in a nutshell.
Thank you, Susan. That's incredible. I know for a fact Orchard Village is, doing some amazing work and always have. And we appreciate you providing some backgrounds on what you guys are doing there. And a bit of a shift. So one of the things we sometimes run into, in our own conversations is sometimes folks just don't understand what it is that community providers do. Mm-hmm. So thank you for describing that. And so what I'd ask next is kind of in transitioning here. Can you tell us a little bit about why that work is that you do so important to healthy communities that you guys provide services in?
Sure. Well, I think we do that in a number of ways. First and foremost, I always tell anybody I meet, whether it be our board or our staff, or if we're out in the community, if we're working with local civic leaders or people at the park district, that we're here to serve and we're here to serve the community. Give my phone number, my cell phone to anybody who just wants to talk about finding the services and supports to help their loved ones, their neighbors, their friends, to get the services that they need to live the life they want to lead in the community, so that they can be a part of the community, a meaningful part, whether it be through, as I said, home-based supports where somebody could go into your family home and help you with some of the things that are challenging, or whether it be through finding employment, because nothing is really more meaningful to people than having a job, and a job at a competitive wage, and that is integrated into the community, not segregated, right? And so, first and foremost, we're here to serve. With the numbers of people with disabilities, the number of kids with autism that are out there, families don't often know where to go. And so we are here as that safety net to help them learn to advocate for themselves and what resources are out there, because until that door opens and until you need those services, you may not be aware of that. You may see the person who works in the community, but you may not know how to get there. And you may not come when a baby's born with a disability, families don't always know where to go. And so we're here to serve, to guide, whether they be here at Orchard Village or go to a colleague's organization, it doesn't matter, to provide that information and support where it's needed. So.
Thank you, Susan. It's evident, I know I'm biased, it's evident that healthy communities rely on the types of services and supports that Orchard Village exists to do. And without them, I just, I don't want to imagine what it would be like without organizations such as Orchard Village that are such mission and value driven. So as I know you know very well, and as we know, organizations like Orchard Village are extremely reliant on our state budget due to the individual client base that you serve, but also to how your organizations are primarily funded through contractual arrangements with agencies like the Department of Human Services. So as you know, our General Assembly is now in session and will be in session through the end of May. And one of the major things that the General Assembly needs to do on an annual basis is pass a budget. Which they typically do by the end of May. Can you tell us, what is the work that the General Assembly needs, or what can they do to help organizations like Orchard Village advance the work you do in your mission?
Well, to preface that, absolutely, agencies like nonprofits in particular, like Orchard Village, about 75% of our budget is state funded, right? And sometimes that's with obviously federal money coming through the state, but to us from the state. And so, we make up the difference through fundraising. We make up the difference through occasionally service care fees or some private pay, but that's such the minimum amount of what makes up our budget. And so we do rely heavily on the state. And fortunately, I hope we have state government now that is very sympathetic to that, and we're very hopeful about the future. But in general, the state, unfortunately, our history in Illinois is not so great in that, funding for community services like Orchard Village provides has really been lagging. And we've often ranked towards the bottom of the 50 states in the dollars that we do spend on these types of very essential services. So, advocacy is something that we are so wonderfully aligned with you, Josh, and your team at IARF to really help us advocate and to educate. And we're very grateful to you and to your team for all you do. But we need to do the work as well. And so we're very fortunate at Orchard Village that we have a number of legislators that are in some of our service areas that are extremely supportive. Senators Laura Fine, Ron Villavalum have been very, very helpful to us in our advocacy efforts. Our support is continually needed. Our direct service professionals, we call them DSPs, of course, our frontline workers, are sorely underpaid. We are headquartered in Skokie, we are bordered to Chicago, and we all know that minimum wage is going up. And we can barely keep up with minimum wage to pay our DSPs. It is not a minimum wage job. Our staff provides such a needed service. Sometimes they support people, as I said, in a 24/7 nature. Some of our folks are dependent on them for many, many things. Some of our folks don't have families. and our DSPs become their families. And it is not a minimum wage endeavor. So we need to continually fight for them and for their increase in their wages. We've had the recent study by Guidehouse, which has shown that our rates are really underfunded. And so we need to continue to advocate for those rates. There's a couple of bills out there now that I know IARF is really out there advocating for, the Senate Bill 169 and the House Bill 194, to look at these rates. This is a well-done study that has shown the underfunding of our system. And so we need to invest in a meaningful system to serve these that so need our supports, and to serve the families as well of the folks who need it. So we're hoping that this is going to be a positive legislative year with the support, but we continually need more, and we need more to be done. So we appreciate all IARF is doing as well.
Well, directly, we appreciate everything that you're doing in organizations like you. Susan, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure to learn more about Orchard Village and the excellent work that you're doing in your communities, as well as the importance of funding the Guidehouse rate study, Senate Resolution 169, House Resolution 194, in terms of advancing that work in the General Assembly. Susan, again, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you spending time with the IR 5-Minute Focus. And again, appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Josh. You too. Be well.
You as well.